So you can see that the recording is in progress. You'll just have to acknowledge that. Good morning, I'm Lynne. For those who don't know me, I am one of the trainers for Triangle MLS, and I'm excited to talk to you today about Paragon Connect. I spoke with a few of you earlier, and it seems like the general consensus is that most people are not either aware of what Paragon Connect is or what it could do for you and why you should use it. So we're going to explore all of those things today. So what exactly is it? Do I really need it? Is it just another app like a Home Spotter or Home Snap or something like that? Well, Paragon Connect is actually your MLS system on the go. So it is your mobile optimized version of Paragon. It was actually created and designed to be utilized on your mobile device. So it's formatted so it looks clean and neat and easy to read there. And a couple of things that I wanted to share with you are that it is a way for you to have access on the go without having to bring your laptop with you. You can do all kinds of things just like you can do in the full version of Paragon. To use Paragon Connect, it is considered a web app. It's not an app that you would download like from Google Play or the App Store. So it's a web app, meaning that to use it, let's say I want to use it on my phone, I'm going to open up my browser, and then I'm going to go to the site. And you can see I put the site here in the upper left of this screen. It's triangle.paragonrels.com. And that would be the same address or URL to go to for the full desktop version of Paragon. When you go here from your phone or tablet, you'll then encounter a screen where you can just tap to go into Paragon Connect. Couple of other things about it being a web app, it's real-time information. So if someone made a change, if they added a new listing, did change the price perhaps in the full version of Paragon, it's immediately reflected in Paragon Connect, and vice versa. If you do those things in Paragon Connect, people see them immediately. There's no delay in the information. They access the same exact server, so they're all both pointing to the same thing and grabbing that information from the same place. It also means you're never going to have to download any updates. So that's always a good thing too, because it is real-time information. Also, just be aware that although I'm calling this an app, it is really not designed as something for you to share with your clients. So this is not a shareable app like a Home Spotter, for example. This is really truly just for you to have easy access to Paragon when you're out and about. Any questions for me so far? Are some of you actually using this? Anybody want to weigh in on that? And that might be a no. That's okay. All right. Let's have a look then at Paragon Connect. If I pull up Paragon Connect by opening my browser and going to triangle.paragonrels.com, on the left side of this screen is what I'll see. So this is kind of the main page. You have a little menu area that we'll look at in a moment. That's in the upper left corner. By the way, they call that a hamburger menu. I guess it's supposed to look like a hamburger. Below that is your power search. Now, I'm not sure how many of you use the power search in Paragon. It is one of my favorite features in Paragon. If you're not using it, you need to check it out. Right above your menu bar, it sits at the very top left of your Paragon screen. And the power search lets you search across several different kinds of information. So it's a great way to pull up an MLS number. I use it for that all the time. You can pull up an address. And what I like about that is that you don't have to know what status it is in or even what class of property it's in. You can use it to pull up other members, other offices, your contacts, your searches. So lots of ways to conveniently pull up your information simply by typing a little bit of what you need and want in that box. And then you're going to see below that, there are 3 sections to it: buyers, sellers, and my info. And more on that in just a moment. But first, under that hamburger menu in the upper left corner, this is what you would see if I were to tap on it. So these are your menu options. If I go to properties, and you'll see this is where I can create a search. I can also access any saved searches that I have. I can go to contacts and I can modify contact information. I can pull up my contacts. I can change my settings for the Collab Center, for example. I can go into the listings menu and I can actually add a listing from scratch there. So it has been formatted so it's nice and easy on your screen to add a listing. Previously, it would have been as though you were looking at that same screen in Paragon to try to add a listing, and that would not have been very fun on a phone, but this is awesome. Marta, I noticed that you had a little question in the chat. You go to triangle.paragonrels.com on your phone. So open up whatever browser you like, Safari, Chrome, whatever it is, go to triangle.paragonrels.com and then tap on Paragon Connect. You can also do a member search, and under My Content, you have access to your listing carts and property watches. More on that in a few minutes. Any questions so far, though, for me? All right. So Paragon Connect is actually modeled after the Collab Center. Are some of you using Collab Center for your buyer clients? Yeah. Okay. If you're not, or if you don't know what it is, the short version of it is you can set up an auto search for your buyer client. And what happens is Paragon continues to run that search to look for more matches. And whenever it finds a new match, it will automatically send an email to that person. And that email contains a link. And the link, when they click on it, takes them out to this site called the Collab Center. The Collab Center is designed to be, in effect, a collaboration between you and your buyer. They not only see all of the matches to that search you created for them, but they can also let you know how they feel about them. There's going to be a little heart to save something as a favorite. There'll be a question mark icon in order for them to say it's a possibility. And then there's a thumbs down for them to tap on to say, not crazy about this one. They can also write comments. You two can have kind of a dialogue or exchange on it. They can ask you to set up a showing appointment. So it really is this kind of participative website. Perul, let's see, I have Paragon Mobile. Is that the same thing as Paragon Connect? Paragon Mobile is no longer what we use. Paragon Connect would be what you'll want to use now. All right, so since it's modeled after the Collab Center, this first tab where it says buyers is a way for you to track what's going on with your buyers. This is going to show you any recent activity on the Collab Center site for any of the buyers that you've set up. So you'll see your, on this screen, you have some circles with numbers in them, and the legend is just below that. And those circles are showing me different kinds of activity. So that number 2 in a green circle is showing me that this buyer has saved 2 as favorites. They also saved 2 properties as possibilities. They've rejected 1. They've created and saved a new search on their own, and they've made a comment to me. So this is a way for you to see at a glance per contact, all of that new activity in one easy place. Any questions here for me? All right. The next area is the Sellers tab. Now, there's a few different things that are happening here. One is if you have a listing, you can assign a contact to that listing. So let's say I have the Joneses listing. I would put the Joneses in as a contact in Paragon. And then on that screen under Sellers, I would see Assign a Contact. I would select the Joneses from my contact list. And then if you look at the leftmost screenshot here, where it currently says Lynne Rawlinson, that would be as though I had assigned it to the Joneses. And now I have some additional things I can do. So I can have an activity report created and sent out automatically to me and to them to show them everything that's happening on their listing. How many times someone has saved it as a favorite or a possible, or how many times it's been rejected. I can even see if other agents have recommended my listing to someone. I can see how many times it was included in an automatic email that got sent out. So there's all this summary of activity that you can use for yourself and share with those sellers. Now you set up the seller with that activity report or that seller side collab center, if you will. And this is what that screen would look like. So when I assign the listing to that contact, this dark blue background screen is what I would see. This is where I can email them the activity information. I can do it on a daily basis or weekly, or I could choose not to send it to them. And then below that is where I can turn on that activity report for me. And again, I can get that on a daily basis or weekly basis here. If I want to include them in this process, I'm going to just click on that complete and send invite button at the bottom, and that gets everything started for them. And now on a weekly basis, they can see what's happening. It just keeps them in the loop and an easy way for you to see all that new activity. If you'll look with me at the first screenshot here at the bottom, it says view detail, edit, and statistics. So view detail, if I were to click on that, it would just show me all of the information about my listing. Edit will do exactly that. It will allow me to edit my listing directly from this screen. More on that in a little bit. And statistics is what I was just talking about, the summary of activity happening on the listing. So that's where I could see all of that information. So edit, if I were to tap on edit, this is what it would look like. It would give me those different areas of my listing input screen, general property info, the room dimensions, all of that. And it would let me access any field within any of those sections and make an update if I needed to. And it's not just about changing a price or a status. I can change anything. I can update my remarks. I can address some optional feature groups, maybe, that I didn't do initially. And if I would like to go directly to a specific field, then I can actually use this little magnifying glass icon up at the top right here. And when I click on that, I can just type in the name of the field that I want to go to directly, and it takes me right there. So I don't have to go searching for it in any of those sections. Any questions on that so far?
I do have a question, Lynne.
Okay.
So I understand that your first time they say we are not more longer to use the other one. They say Paragon Connect. Okay, let's go on now.
Yes.
Paragon.
That's right.
So we're gonna go to here.
So this is what you want to use instead, the Paragon Connect.
Right.
And although it isn't an app that you download. You can still put an icon on your screen on your phone, on your homepage, and just be able to tap on that and go directly there to the login screen for it.
So if we want to look at certain kind of the property, I don't know, any property, so going to, like you say, search for the listing and the little one in the top, but you have to devise buyer, seller, my information. So you need to put something like a buyer or seller, pick what you're looking for, let's see, buyer. And then you put any listing that any address. What about if you don't have the address, just for area?
So the buyers area is if you have set your buyers up that you're actively working with a search, so they've approached you and said, Marta, we're interested in a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath home in Cary in this price range. You set up the search, put them on autopilot, so to speak. You're automating this, and then through the Collab Center, they get notified of new matches based on the search you set up. This buyers tab that you have here is a way for you to then see if those buyers have gone to their site, and if while they were there, did they do anything? Did they save some of those properties as favorites, possibles, and rejects? Did they write a comment? And this is where you can access all the activity that they have done on their Collab Center site that you set up for them. Does that make sense?
Well, yes and no. Before we had to put a search of different criteria.
That's right.
Bedroom, bathroom,
right.
etc. Right now
That's
we
exactly
can,
right?
Right now we cannot do this anymore.
You can create the search here too. We haven't gotten to the search portion of it yet.
Answer. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. You absolutely can do it right from here. This is just the main screen that you arrive at. And so it's kind of like, oh, okay, now I can check out the activity on my buyers and my sellers and my info, which would be my own listings or things that I'm on the selling side of a transaction for.
Okay. Thank
you. So this is just kind of your check-in right at the front when you log into Paragon Connect. But I'm going to show you all the different things that you can do with it, like create searches and
thank you,
all of that.
I've been waiting patiently.
You just want to know it all. That's a great thing. I'm excited. Thank you for that. I also have something in the chat. Saying my statistics area is grayed out. The statistics area will be grayed out if you have not associated a contact with your listing. So that is exactly the way it should look until you've associated a contact with that with that listing. One final thing here under edit. From the homepage, we do from here have the ability to add photos, manipulate photos, delete them, rearrange them, use a cropping tool before we add them if we want to. So let's have a look at that little hamburger menu that was in the upper left corner of the main screen. Underneath that hamburger menu were the menus that you're seeing here on my far left. And the first one is properties. This is where we can come to create searches and to access our saved searches. Across the top, you'll see that there is the ability to do a location search, hot sheet, and tour and open house search. Below that is where you can do a search by class. So you can search for land or for commercial improved or any class at all. And if you look at the very bottom of this screen here, you'll see that you also have access to your saved searches. So the first kind of search, location search, is how you can do a map search in Paragon Connect. Now, keep in mind, this is the mobile optimized version. So we are limited to just one shape at a time, unlike in the professional version, the desktop version, where you can do up to 10 map shapes at once on a map if you'd like. But if I go to the location search and I want to draw a shape, I'm using this little icon that I've circled here in the upper right, that little pointing finger, and I'm freehand drawing an area, and it ends up looking like what you see on the rightmost part of my screen. So I can select that area to do my map search. Again, only one at a time, because we're limited to the space on our screen, but you can still do a map search. The other thing I want to point out here is that if you use the map search, you know that it's used in conjunction with your search by class. So you have access to all of the other fields like statuses and price range and beds and baths and all of those usual things. So if you'll look with me at the top of the map, next to location, you'll see a button that says criteria. So that would be how you would get to the search form. And you could enter in your criteria. So now you're saying, okay, I want to search in this location with this criteria. Show me what you have. Okay on that one? All right, let's take a look at hot sheet searches. I don't know if you use these. They're available in Paragon Professional. If you don't know what a hot sheet search is, it is a way for you to enter in some criteria to say, this is some new activity that I'm interested in tracking. And you can also put in a time frame. So I can choose to look at it on a daily basis. I can look a week at a time if I want. Maybe I didn't run it for a few days last week and I want to go in and put those dates in where I missed the new activity. So the hot sheet is a way for you to kind of keep a pulse on all the new activity that you personally are interested in the MLS. And in Paragon Professional, you're able to save those, and you have access to them here as well. I'll show you that in a moment. So first thing you would do is tap on Hot Sheet, and then you would put in a duration. So a number of days back, a particular date range, or from the last time that you ran it. Then you'd put in some filters, meaning the kind of activity that you want to keep a pulse on. And then you would put in your criteria. So your criteria could be whatever you would like to search on, and it will show you that activity and also allow you to save it. Now, if you look here in the top right of my screen, those three little dots that you see me pointing to, those that's considered an overflow menu, and that's where you could tap to pull up your default template and update that if you needed to, or to grab your existing hot sheets. So in Paragon, we have the ability to name and save hot sheet searches, just like we would a search by class. So that way, if you're interested in keeping a pulse on several different subdivisions, you can do that by saving and naming those individual subdivision searches. If you haven't done a hot sheet search, I encourage you to kind of play around with that to see if that's something that might be helpful to your day-to-day business. The third type of search here would be a tour and open house search. Now, I will say that the tour search doesn't really apply to our market. We have approximately 15,000 subscribers to Triangle MLS. And the tour search that they're referring to here is an MLS-wide agent tour, which we just don't do here. It's not feasible to invite all 15,000 subscribers to a tour on your new listing. So you would not be using that tour feature here, but you could search for open houses. And when you do that, you'll have the option of open house here versus the tour that I just mentioned. And you can put in your criteria and search for open houses, just like you can in the full version of Paragon. Then you can do, if you'd like, a search by class, like a residential search. And what that does is pull up your default search form in Paragon. So any changes that you made to your default, if you made a custom default search form for yourself, it's going to honor that and pull that one up. And you would proceed to put in criteria and then just run that search and see your results. So at the bottom here is the search button to run it, but there's also 3 little buttons here at the bottom that I want to show you in a little more detail. Before I switch screens though, do you have any questions here? Okay, so as promised, at the bottom where you see those 3 little icons, you have a save icon where you can name and save your search. This little open folder is a way for you to see the last 5 sets of criteria that you entered in. We can do this in Paragon Professional as well. Although in Paragon Professional, it lets you see the last 10 sets of search criteria, but here you have the last 5 sets of criteria you used, whether or not you saved that search or not, so it doesn't matter. And then this little icon is a way for you to see your criteria summary. So it just gives you a little box and summarizes the criteria that you've put into your search form. Kind of nice because then you don't have to scroll through that search form. You just have it right there all together as a summary. And of course, then you would click that search button to run your search. There are a few different views or ways that you can look at your search results. On the left here, this view is called thumbnail view. On the middle screenshot, this one's called grid view. And then on the right, you have map view. So those are the 3 different kinds of views that you can utilize. Just depends on your personal preference and how you'd like to view the information. If I click on a photo, so if I go back here, let's say I clicked on the primary photo for any one of these properties. It's going to give me this full report. So I actually did it in 2 screenshots here because it's a lot of information, but you'll see that it actually seems to mimic the listing input screen. So you have your general area with all that information. You're going to have all the remarks, the agent remarks, if the agent has used any, the room dimensions, if they've been included, all of that detail that you're accustomed to seeing, you're going to have that here. And if you'll look with me here, you also have access to the listing agent and listing office, as well as selling agent and selling office if it's under contract or closed. You have public records information, a mortgage center, and community reports. So let's explore that a little bit. Public records, if I were to tap on that, it's giving me smart analytics through Black Knight. Black Knight, they're the folks that wrote your Paragon system. So this is their way of sharing some public records information with you. And so that's what you would see if you went to public records. If you went to the property history, you'd see all the different times that this property had been listed and its associated history with that time. So just like you can in the full version of Paragon. You will also have valuations, meaning those AVMs, and just to go back for a moment, a mortgage center. So if you wanted to play around with seeing what a monthly payment would be, you have the ability to do that as well. At the top right of that report, there's a little overflow menu. And these are the little options that you see underneath it here. So you tap that overflow menu and you see these options. where you can add this property to a listing cart. You can do driving directions. You also have third-party integrations. So if I went to third-party integrations, right now I see two options: CRS data and showing time. I will share with you, there had been a third option there, and that was for you to see the documents that have been added through Transaction Desk. At some point, it's going back a little ways now, for whatever reason, that disappeared. Those documents disappeared from here. We have reached out to Paragon, let them know, and they have been working on trying to get them back. I don't know the specifics of what the problem was and why they went away in the first place, but I do know that they were there and you could see them. So we're anxiously awaiting for documents to be put back there. So did want to just mention that to you because they should be there. And again, that was third-party integrations, and they would show up here. Now, although we saw the Black Knight Smart Analytics, if we wanted to go to CRS data to see all the public records information, we have a link here. And if you've used CRS, then you'll recognize this kind of first screen. If you haven't used CRS, I would encourage you to play around with it, check it out. It is a really powerful tool that lets you not only search public records data, but it also gives you a way to create mailing labels. So you can focus in on a very detailed, specific location and target audience, and you can create mailing labels through it. So I do offer a class that introduces you to how to use CRS if you're interested in that and aren't sure what it is. Another integration would be showing time, meaning that I can tap on showing time and I have the ability to set up a showing appointment for my buyer client. Now, I can also save searches, and I can choose to either automate the search or not. If I just want to save a search, and I'm not necessarily creating this for someone, I can use this screen to just simply name it and click the save button. However, if I want to attach it to a contact so I can set up Collab Center for them, I'm going to select the contact if I've already added them. If I haven't, that's okay too. I can click on Add Contact. It'll let me put in the name and email address, and then I click Save. And it will let me select to set up the Collab Center here. And if I want to, I can set up a little personalized message here. Otherwise, when I click the purple button at the bottom to complete and send invite, that would send them the welcome message. And if you are familiar with the Collab Center, you know that that's just a one-time message to get folks started. It gives them instruction on how to utilize the Collab Center. It tells them about, letting you know whether it's a favorite, possible, or reject. It lets them know that they can write comments to you, etc. So it's that one time getting them started on using that collaboration center. I want to pause here just for a second, see if you guys have any questions on anything so far. Okay, you let me know if you do. You just unmute or use that chat if you do. All right. If we were to go back to the hamburger menu at the top left of that main screen, we have the ability to go into listings. Now, when I tap on listings, it's going to prompt me to either go into my published or unpublished. If I go into published, it means I'm trying to access one of my existing listings. I have to make some kind of change, maybe a price change, maybe I need to update something else, a status. It could be really anything. And then unpublished would be where I can access my partials. If you've done listings before, you know that you can actually save the work as you go. And before you actually make it live and searchable for anyone else to see, you save it as a partial listing. So here, partial is the same as unpublished. Same thing. And I could grab my partially saved listing and continue working on it. Now, if I had any listings here, I'd be seeing that listing, and I'd also have this little plus sign to click on to start the process of adding a listing. So that's how you would start that process. And you would next choose the class of property that you're getting ready to list. Land, residential, whatever it might be. Then you would see this screen that if you have created a listing before, it should look somewhat similar and familiar. So you have the different sections of the listing input screen, and you just open up a section like general, for example, and address all the fields that are in that section. Then go to the next one and do the same thing. Now, you can partially save your listing. If you're not ready to make it live, that's totally okay. You'll click on that kind of purplish blue save button at the bottom. But on my rightmost side, it'll give you these two options. It'll either let you save it as unpublished, so save it as a partial, or publish it, meaning you want to make it live. You're ready to make it active or coming soon, or maybe no showing status. And those are the main things I wanted to share with you. I know it was a lot in a little bit of time, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what it can do. It has come so far since when we first added Paragon Connect. We had the ability to edit listings or to add pictures, but we didn't have a way to actually add an entire listing from here. We didn't have access to our hot sheets or anything like that. So it is really, really a helpful tool, and they are working on making this better and better all the time. I would say that this is Black Knight, Paragon's main focus. They're spending most of their resources in developing and improving on Paragon Connect. So this is really important for them, and it'll be hopefully a really helpful tool to you. So questions on this or comments about it? Adding, okay, I do see, how do you add an open house for your listing? It would be under your listing maintenance. I don't have a slide of that particular screen, Lisa, but you would do it in listing maintenance. So under that listings area, you would select that listing and have the option to do it there. Other questions? What do you think? You think it would be something helpful to you? Think it's something you might actually utilize? You guys are awfully quiet this morning. No comments on it? Well, as you know, you can get there right away, nothing to download. Just open up a browser on your phone, go to triangle.paragonrels.com. Tap on Paragon Connect and you can start playing with it right away. Check out making a change, maybe saving a search. Hop on over to the full version of Paragon just to see that, oh, yes, it is in fact there. And it does automatically in real time reflect that change I just made.
I had a question.
Go ahead.
If I have a listing and Swimmer, and FlexBanks, you can open your listing and see how many people see your property. And between that day to this day, you can see what another property they search, what if they save in, or if they are just not interested, do we have any access to see in Paragon your listing, how many people seen your property or what they see to when they go?
Yes, actually in Paragon, you have something called an activity report. So if you have a listing,
Mm-hmm.
you can go up to the menu bar, go to listings,
Yep,
and click on maintain listings.
I am published right now. So
Okay.
open a publish.
And don't go into the listing, but instead on that screen where you see your listing in a one-liner list, over to the right, you'll notice there's a link that says, what does it say? Select activity or something to that. Select an action. Do you see that on the right?
So I had to press on the property,
No,
right? No?
nope. You just from that one-liner list under listing maintenance,
Yeah.
go to the right
Oh.
and it says select an action and a little box appears and you'll see view activity
Maintenance.
report in that box.
Maintenance.
And
Oh,
that's how you can look at all the activity for your listing without having to have somebody set up as a, with the seller's collab center or anything like that.
all right. Cannot get it, but I will work with that.
Yeah, there's also a definition for all the different kinds of activity that it talks about, because it might not be immediately obvious. So you'll be able to see definitions of all that as well if you're confused about what does this really mean.
Okay.
Other questions?
I was just gonna say, Martha, we can look at it when you're in the office next.
When you're, well, I didn't hear
Thank you, Glenn.
No, Martha's in my office, so Lynn, I was telling her I help her when she's in the office.
Awesome, thank you. You know exactly what I'm referring to, right, Glenn?
That's correct.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any other questions or comments? All right, well, I'd just like to remind you that we're available and accessible to you. We want you to reach out to us. Data integrity, they used to be called compliance. We think of them as the rules and regs folks, but they are so helpful. They just want to support you and make sure that you're clear and understanding everything. So if you ever have a question about whether or not you can do something or how you do that from a rules perspective, please reach out to them. They would love to hear from you. Also, we have our technical support team. It's kind of evolved recently. We now have a tier 1 and tier 2. They've been cross-training between the membership department and help desk. And so now they can even help you that much better. So you can reach out to them. If one of the people on tier 1 doesn't know the answer, they're going to send you to a specialist in tier 2, and they can address whatever questions you might have in Paragon or in any of the apps or other products that we use. So make sure you reach out to them. Also, if they're not available, it's the middle of the night and you need some help, there is a help area on your homepage for Paragon or on the dashboard. And we have frequently asked questions there. We have little articles with screenshots and things to help you and guide you through different features that you may have questions about. We're also getting ready next month to publish our video learning library, which will be a series of short 3 to 5 minute videos on specific portions of Paragon and our apps as well. And there's always lots of training opportunities. We do this association training with our partner associations each month. We can do an office training for you virtually or in person if you would like, or for your firm for that matter, or team, if you have a team. Of course, we do our regular training over Zoom all the time, and you can always access it that way. And if there's any questions you have about training, or maybe you want to make a suggestion to me or to Christy Robertson, the other trainer, we're happy to receive those emails. We share this inbox, training@trianglemls.com. So please, if you ever have suggestions, questions, anything, or you want to set up a session, we can customize it to your needs. Just need to let us know about it. So we're happy to do that. Well, thank you so much for your time and attention.
Thank
If you
you.
don't have anything else for me, I will be sending a copy of this to Holly at RRAR. She'll post it on that website, so you'll have access to it again. Or if you know someone that maybe missed the training, you can let them know, hey, it's recorded and you can go access it here. So, all right, folks, thanks so much. Hope you have a great rest of your day. You guys take care.